Learning about Difficult Subjects, September 11, 2001, by David A. Rapko, M.D. Illustrated by Barry Davian. Forward. How do you explain the events of September 11, 2001 to a child? This crossed my mind on its 20th anniversary when I wanted to talk about it with my 8-year-old nephew. I researched available children's books and discovered that most used a fictionalized character living through the attack to depict what happened. I could not find a frank and comprehensive overview of 9/11 and its aftermath for children. I believe this book achieves that goal. Please share it with a child. What happened? On 9/11/2001, 19 men violently took control away from the pilots of 4 different airplanes. When a person takes control of a vehicle, such as an airplane, this is called hijacking. The hijackers crashed the first plane into one of 2 skyscrapers that were part of the World Trade Center complex in New York City. It was the North Tower. At the time, most people believed it was just a horrible accident. The hijackers crashed the second plane into the South Tower of the World Trade Center complex. When this happened, it became clear that the plane crashes were not accidents. The hijackers crashed the third plane into the Pentagon, which is the Department of Defense headquarters located in Arlington, Virginia. The fourth plane did not hit its intended target, which was believed to be the United States Capitol building in Washington, D.C. It ended up crashing into a field in Stony Creek Township, Pennsylvania, because the passengers on board tried to retake control of the plane from the hijackers. All of the people on board the 4 planes died. Almost 3,000 people died that day, mostly people who were inside the World Trade Center when each of the 2 towers collapsed. This number includes 415 emergency responders who were attempting to rescue the survivors in the towers. Thank you, Canada. All airplanes that were still in flight over the United States were required to land immediately. Some flights coming to the United States were diverted to other countries, mainly to Canada. Why did it happen? The people who came up with the plan to hijack the planes and the men who hijacked the planes believed that they were fighting into a holy war against the United States. Some people who have strong beliefs in a cause are willing to die for that cause, even if what they are doing can hurt other people. These beliefs may force them to leave their loved ones behind. Meaning today, people around the world were shocked to see the United States attacked. Most people remember exactly where they were and what they were doing when they first heard about the attacks. The events of 9/11/2001 are an example of terrorism. Terrorism is when violent acts are taken against ordinary people, foreign terrorist organizations, state sponsors of terrorism, domestic threats. The United States responded to the attacks by sending military forces to invade a country called Afghanistan, where many of the people who planned the attacks were living. In 2003, one of the men most responsible for planning the September 11th attacks was captured. He is currently imprisoned. In 2011 and 2022, the United States military killed the 2 other men who were most responsible for planning the September 11th attacks. The United States military continued operations in Afghanistan for more than 20 years. Many more people died during that time. The Department of Homeland Security was created to prevent future terrorist attacks against the United States. Traveling on airplanes today is much safer because of more thorough screening of passengers. Many people were involved with rescuing survivors and recovering remains from the World Trade Center, as well as cleaning up debris from the fallen buildings. Some of them became sick from being exposed to the wreckage. There are permanent memorials at the plane crash sites where the World Trade Center used to be, at the Pentagon and at the field in Pennsylvania. You can visit them yourself. The September 11th attacks are often simply referred to as 9/11. 9/11 was one of the most barbaric events in the history of the United States. However, it has also showed the best of humanity, The brave first responders who risked their lives to save others, the courageous passengers of the fourth plane who ended the hijacking even though they knew the plane would likely crash, Canada and other countries that accepted flights bound to the United States and provided shelter to the passengers, and most importantly, all of the ordinary people who helped strangers in need. The events that took place on September 11, 2001 are upsetting. Learning about them can trigger many emotions. It may be helpful to talk to an adult or the person who gave you this book about how you feel now that you have learned more about what happened on September 11, 2001.